Good. The Tuesday, June 4th, 2024, Town Council meeting is hereby called to order. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Peterson. Here. Councilman Pete.
Here.
Councilman Fields.
Here.
Councilman Brown.
Present.
Chair Pro Tem Miles.
Present.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Here.
Mayor Wood.
Present.
Thank you.
I'm gonna ask Minister Andre Milton to come up and open us up with the invocation.
Dear Lord, we just thank you right now for this time, Lord. We ask that you will join us tonight, Lord, that you will impart the wisdom on the people here who are making decisions, Lord, that you will help them make wise decisions for this town, Lord. I ask right now for your protection over this town, Lord. Watch over our youth, Lord. Watch over those victims, Lord, that are just at the will of others, Lord. But I ask your protection right now, Lord, for this town. In Jesus' name, amen.
Would you all rise for the pledge of allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, please be seated. All right, next is the adoption of the agenda. I'm gonna add a second presentation, a proclamation for National Gun Violence Awareness as B. Madam Chair Pro Tem.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the agenda as amended.
Second. All right, it's been motion and second. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, call for the question.
Councilman Peterson.
Aye.
Councilman Pete.
Yes.
Councilman Fields.
Yes.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Miles.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
That motion's passed.
All right, first on the agenda is a recognition of the Women in Community Action Incorporated. Says, whereas the town of Dumfries takes pride in recognizing the contributions of outstanding community organizations that have made a significant impact on our residents and the broader community. And whereas Women in Community Action was founded in 1976 in Del City by the pioneers, including Fannie Fitzgerald, Dolores Hampton, Clara Harris, and Mary F. Williams, with the aim of being warm, ingenuous in efforts, considerate of others, and active participant in community affairs. And whereas WICA's mission has been to work for community improvement with a special emphasis on service to youth, embodying their motto, no person was ever honored for what we receive. Honor has been the reward for what we gave, by Calvin Coolidge. Whereas over the years, WICA has supported numerous charities, sponsored a variety of community service projects, and hosted fundraisers to provide academic scholarships and assist those in need. Whereas WICA is best known for sponsoring an annual and semi-annual debutante ball for the high school juniors and seniors. They've been doing this since 1979 and have seen over 470 young ladies complete the program, including daughters of former debutantes. Whereas the dedication of those members have been honored with the naming of the school Mary F. Williams Elementary and Fannie W. Fitzgerald Elementary School in Woodbridge, as well as the George Hampton Middle School in Del City, after the husband of founder Dolores Hampton. Whereas WICA celebrates 48 years of service in 2024. Their vision continues to focus on helping youth, providing scholarships, supporting families in need, promoting education, celebrating accomplishments, supporting the arts, and partnering with other community organizations. Whereas the town of Dumfries wants to recognize these remarkable achievements and the lasting legacy of WICA and its members who have greatly contributed. We now therefore recognize Women in Community Action for their 48 years of exceptional service and contributions to the community, and we extend our best wishes for continued success and impact on future generations. Signed by order of the council, Mayor Derek R. Wood. Miss Mary Lively, and the ladies, come on up.
Okay, okay. Was really, this is really, really nice. Good evening. I thank you, Mayor Derek Woods and council members. Thank you so much. We are honored. We're grateful for receiving this recognition from the town of Dumfries. You are doing an awesome job, and we thank you. Women in Community Action work very hard, and we are looking forward to our 48 years celebrating on Saturday at the Palazzo Building. You're more than welcome to attend from 1 to 4, and we will be honoring our 4 founders and our 12 pearls, or those are the original members that was also a part of the organization that made it happen. We continue to move forward, and we're so grateful that we get the support and participation, but most of all, that we can help the young people here in Prince William County. So thank you.
Next is a proclamation for the first Friday in June. Before that, I just wanted to offer my heartfelt condolences again to the families that was affected by last night's tragedies. Our thoughts and our prayers are with them during this incredible, difficult time. And before I read the proclamation, I want to express just the frustration that we have as local lawmakers with our federal lawmakers regarding the access that young people are getting to these guns. Every day, our community, along with others across the nation, suffers from the devastating impact that this gun violence is having. This is a crisis that demands immediate action. Straw purchases, it infiltrates, it continues to be a significant source of illegal firearms. You have people with clean records, they're buying guns legally, only to hand them off to those who are prohibited from owning them. This loophole is a glaring flaw in our legal system and must be closed through robust legislation. We need to implement strict penalties for those who eager of purchasing and enhancing with background checks to flag these suspicious multiple gun purchase. The number of guns that's stolen each year is up to 300,000. It's staggering and it's unacceptable. These stolen firearms often end up in the streets. They're used in a lot of these violent crimes that tear families and communities apart. We need stronger laws to ensure that gun owners secure their weapons properly to prevent theft. Legislation should mandate secure storage requirements and provide funding for programs that educate gun owners about safe storage practices. We're also frustrated that there's a lot of illegal gun trafficking. Guns flow from states to states because of the weak laws to those with stronger regulations feeding the illegal market. We need comprehensive federal gun trafficking laws to stop this pipeline and keep firearms out of criminal hands. Congress should pass laws specifically targeting gun trafficking, these networks, and provide resources for our law enforcement to crack down on these operations. Ghost guns is another dangerous trend that we're seeing in our community. It's untraceable firearms made from kits or 3D printers that can be acquired without any type of background checks. This makes them a significant threat to public safety, and it's critical that we regulate them with stringent legislation. We need laws that require serial numbers on all our firearms and ban the sale of unacceptable. And to anyone who thinks that legislation won't make it difficult, I urge you to reconsider. Comprehensive background checks, stricter laws on gun trafficking, measures to prevent theft and regulation of these ghost guns are all proven methods that can reduce the number of legal firearms and save lives. So we call on our community to come together in this time of need. It's vital that anyone with any type of information, especially about last night's incident, feel comfortable coming forward and share this information. Our police need to know that your cooperation is critical in helping to bring justice to victims and prevent any type of further tragedies. This proclamation declares that the first Friday in June be National Gun Violence Awareness Day in the town of Dumfries to honor and remember the victims and the survivors of gun violence, and to declare that we as a country must do more to end this public health crisis. Whereas every day more than 120 Americans are killed by gun violence and more than 200 are shot and wounded, with an average of more than 18,000 gun homicides every year. And whereas Americans are 26 times more likely to die by homicide than people in other high-income countries. Gun homicides and assaults are concentrated in cities with more than half of all firearm-related gun deaths in the nation occurring in 127 cities. And cities across the nation, including the town of Dumfries, are working to end this senseless violence with evidence-based solutions. And whereas protecting public safety in the communities that serve is our highest responsibility, whereas support for the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens goes hand in hand with keeping guns away from people with dangerous histories, and whereas law enforcement officers in partnership with local violence intervention activists and resources know their communities best, are the most familiar with local criminal activity and how to address it, and are best positioned to understand how to keep their citizens safe. Whereas gun violence prevention is more important than ever, as we see an increase in firearm homicides and non-fatal shootings across the country, increased calls to domestic violence hotlines, and increase in city gun violence. Whereas the idea was inspired by Hadia's friends who asked their classmates to commemorate her life by wearing orange. They chose this color because hunters wear orange to announce themselves to other hunters when out in the woods. And orange is a color that symbolizes the value of human life. And whereas anyone can join this campaign by pledging this Friday, June 7th, to wear orange, the first Friday in June, to help bring awareness about gun violence. By wearing orange, Americans will raise awareness about gun violence and honor the lives of gun violence victims and their survivors. Whereas today we renew our commitment to reduce gun violence, and we pledge here to do all that we can do to keep firearms out of the people who should not have access to them, and encourage responsible gun ownership to help keep our families safe. Now, therefore, the Dumfries Town Council declares the first Friday in June to be National Gun Violence Awareness. We encourage all citizens to support the local community's efforts to prevent these tragedies affected by gun violence. Signed by order of the council, Mayor Derek Woods.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Town Council. Thank you for recognizing me for the gun violence. It's also sad that we are having this talk and there's a day for this. As the mayor said, June is National Gun Violence Month, but it kicks off the first weekend with the Wear Orange campaign. Here in Dumfries, we, the police department, are committed to keeping and making the town safer. We recognize that according to Everytown for Gun Safety, 120 Americans are killed by gun violence and more than 200 are wounded every day. The average is more than 17,000 people are killed gun homicides every year in the United States. Here in Dumfries, we know the men and women of the Dumfries Police Department, your police department, can't do this alone. This is not just a police department problem, but a community problem. We as a community must come together and act to stop gun violence. We all know people and families that have been affected by gun violence. We all know that this is the leading cause of death of young African-American men, 15 to 24 years of age. in the United States, and we feel that here in the town as well. We know that witnessing shootings and hearing gunshots makes it harder for children at school. The exposure to violence causes trauma and lasting changes of the well-being of children as well as adults. Since October 2023, the police department has 23 firearm-related arrests. That's just arrests. There's also crimes that went on unreported, not a suspect, that we weren't able to close those, but 23 arrests since October. This doesn't mean calls for service, shots fired, stolen, recovered firearms, or anything like that. That's just 23 arrests since October. The police department understands the rights of citizens to bear arms and understands the need for sensible gun control. One of the most important parts of gun control is to hold those accountable that commit acts of violence using illegal firearms, possessing firearms illegally, and using firearms in the commission of other crimes. As your police chief, I commit today to have your department investigate and follow up until all means are exhausted, how and where these firearms are coming from and how are they getting in the hands of our children. I asked the town council to support the police department and assist me within all means necessary to curb the gun violence in the town. I asked the town of Dumfries citizens and community leaders to assist the department within all means necessary to curb the gun violence in the town. We all hear the slogan, see something, say something. I'd like to expand that. How about if you know something, tell something? Be a good witness, provide pertinent information. Don't backtrack or change your story. We owe the citizens of the town to keep our town safe. People that harm our citizens, our kids, our community don't belong in our town. I call on all prosecutors and our judges to hold people accountable when they terrorize the citizens of our town. I hope the citizens, community leaders, and town councils assist me asking the same of our judges and prosecutors. I ask parents, friends, counselors, community leaders to talk to these young adults. Advise that violence is not the answer. Hold kids accountable. Spend more time with the youth. Don't be afraid to call the police and let us assist in teaching and talking to the youth about the effects of gun violence before it's too late and there is no chance to speak with them. Let them know once the trigger is pulled, there's no way to bring that bullet back. We want to make this town safer and need everyone's help in this effort. If we can continue to get guns off the streets and get the help of the council, pastors, citizens, and young people, we will make this town safer. Thank you.
Next is the approval of our May 21st minutes, town meeting minutes. It was a tongue twister.
I move that we approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Second the motion, Mayor.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call for the question.
Councilmember Peterson.
Aye.
Councilmember Pete.
Yes.
Councilmember Fields.
I have to abstain.
Councilmember Brown.
Aye.
Chairperson Miles.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is citizen comment time. Were there any citizens who signed up to speak?
Yes, we have 3 citizens that signed to speak. The first one is Mr. James Neal.
Good evening. My name is James Neal. I'm here for the benefit of the residents of Prince William Estates in conjunction with the Harbor Reserve proposed development that adjoins our community. We continue to press for the release of records that deal with the road easement into the town. We understand that the signature from the previous town manager has been found and noted on the plans that were submitted to Smith Engineering. That's good, but there must be other documents that lead up to that. And so I'm asking the town manager, McInnes, to check her records to see what kind of history there is to the development of this decision to approve the site plan for the road from Harbor Reserve into Prince William Estates. And then understand that there's to be a demolition of a residence at 4151 EB Drive. I'm wondering if that requires a permit and if that permit has been granted. If not, I'm recommending that be held for a while we investigate all options that can make this procedure more appealing and and beneficial to the residents of the Prince William Estates. And then beyond that, my understanding, it may not be accurate, that the house, adjoining house 4161 has been purchased by the developer also, possibly for the purpose of a construction office. I'm wondering if that calls for a zoning change or exception, and if the town would look into that and make sure that that's pursued. And if it hasn't happened yet, perhaps that's another way to hold off on this development while we look into other options that can make the situation more feasible. Beyond that, there's street excavation. EB Drive was dug up this past week. I'm wondering if there was a permit for that. And if that was given to the agency that dug up the street this past week. Also, the matter of stormwater management. I understand that the code of the town allows for the town to charge fees for adjoining property owners that drain water into the town. It's in the code under stormwater management, and if the town would look into that, that would be a wonderful way to get the developer to support any need for stormwater management and abatement from that development, 18 acres draining into the town of Dumfries through Quantico Creek. Encourage you to look into that. I thank you very much, and I hope that all these things will come about and we'll be able to move ahead in a positive way. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk.
Next person is Jerome Jacobs.
Mayor Woods, Vice Mayor, Council, my name is Jerome Jacobs, 17-8-16 Lighter Lane. I'm here in reference to the Harbor Reserve project also. And I started running off copies on my fax machine and my copy machine, and I had to go get more ink because I think I have about 300 or 400 pages of paper laying on my floor. And I just went to get some, just to look through what's happening in the last 2 or 3 years. And I came across an Exhibit A, which this town council, Mr. Brewer, Fields, Miles, Nibel, Mickelson, Willis, and Wood, and it was approved by the Mayor Wood in reference to this same project in Prince William Estate that we're trying to avoid. And this is on, the date is December 4th, 2018, that this board approved this. And there's one name on here that's a friend of mine that claimed that they have no idea what's going on with this project, and they signed off on it. So, and this is a shame for our community. It's a shame. It was signed off. My computer, my fax is still running. I want to find some more information in reference to that project up there. But if you read these papers, everyone approved it and everyone knew it that was on the council back in 2018. So I'm appalled with this right here, that no one can find records and understand what's going on with Prince William Estate. Prince William Estate is an estate is one way in, one way out. Mr. Curtis built our area for 110 homes for people just to buy the homes and have a wonderful life. We have 3 retired mayors that are in Prince William Estate. Warmer, school teachers, Ms. Covington. We have active school teachers and retired school teachers. Contacts, pastors, and we don't need this particular item that's coming through our neighborhood real soon. And it's sad, but I'm still running off papers. I'm gonna find some more, and I hope to bring some more back at our next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Robert Hand.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Robert Hand. I live in Williamstown. Last night was a tragedy. Okay, are we done with the virtue signaling there? I've got a number of things here. I've got, let's see, got an umbrella, got a water bottle for this nice warm day outside. But I don't have a laxative for the load of crap that you just spewed, Mayor. Details have not come out for the tragedy that happened. Everything that you called for already exists. 3D printer, that shows that you are too stupid to know what you are talking about. Background checks. What background checks are supposedly going to prevent the tragedies from being somebody's first offense? Navy Yard? You're liars. You're dishonest. 120 deaths a day. Yeah, that's tragedy. Now try with that with context. How many of them are justified shootings? How many of them are gang violence, excuse me? What laws were going to prevent them? What realistically enforceable gun control measures would prevent the tragedies without violating due process and HIPAA? To make it short and easy, the answer is none, because I could show you with case studies how that's disproven. If you have to lie, you know you've got a shit narrative.
Madam Clerk.
That's all the speaker just signed up.
All right, council. Chair Pro Tem, you have anything?
Well, good evening, everybody. First of all, I want to start off by saying my heart goes out to the families and the victims in last night's shooting. Anytime you have a loss of life, that's a tragedy. And I would just say if your immediate response is to have callousness, that's part of what's wrong with the depravity and how we're losing life through the gun violence as it is. On a brighter note, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out to our second annual Autism Appreciation Day. It was an overwhelming success. We had about 130 children that showed up with disabilities, and they were able to enjoy themselves in a safe, inclusive environment, and just looking forward to doing more events that are inclusive of that community. And with that, I'll yield, Mayor.
All right, Councilman Fields.
What I'm not gonna do is allow a cowardly hand to ruin this council meeting. You'll laugh all you want to.
Says the guy that blocks people.
I do.
Violation.
So,
Keep some decorum in us. Carry on.
and you know my saying, I got all I need. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this wonderful council meeting. We hear you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here and everybody else is here. Because like I said, we're not going to allow that to ruin anything that we got going forward in this meeting. Yes, we are sitting here at a time of some tragedy that just happened in our town once again. But as we know, there are certain legislations and things that we can only hope that it prevents that in the future. 2A, I'm big on 2A. I carry all the time. Don't try me. And I know many others up here do as well. So don't think I'm against that. But what I'm against is the lack of compassion, the utterly carelessness of what can come out of someone's mouth. I'm happy to announce that this coming weekend, this would be, I believe, the 7th Stop the Violence event that I participated in, and we'll have it here for the 4th time in the town of Dumfries, Saturday, 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Dumfries Shopping Center. We have many vendors. We have speakers, unfortunate victim families to come out and speak to us as well. So we'll have music, and we're just going to have a good time promoting safety and promoting just to try to stop it. We just have to stop. Like we said, we're orange, and I'm doing a walk that morning across the Woodrow Wilson Bridge in effort to spread the awareness and stop the violence. So I'll be wearing my orange Friday and Saturday for that. So let's come together, community. It's not about pointing fingers at anybody. We got to point the fingers at ourselves and who's in the community. Like the chief said, Chief, that was a wonderful statement. Yes, we all heard the saying of see something, say something, but what else is it that you said, sir? Know something, tell us. I like that. And I'm going to spread that as well. So I hope to see many of you, if you can, come on out and support. If you're there for the wrong reasons, I don't know. But if you're there to support, I welcome you. Chief, I welcome you, of course, as the department shows up every year. I happened to see Chief Newsom over the weekend and he said, make sure I get it to him. So I'll follow up for you so I can get his contact information, make sure he gets that information as well. It's unfortunate at this time of the year, we start off with so much bright sunshine and school is out and then we met with tragedy. But we shouldn't let that hold us back going forward. We got to keep fighting and keep awareness going. Thank you.
Councilman Pete.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to start out by saying thank you all, to all the town citizens. Thank you all. My heart is heartfelt with the family from the situation of yesterday. My question to everyone that lives within the town of Dumfries is to bring and help with solutions for the town of Dumfries. If you have something that is positive and that can help us out, please bring it to us so we can work on it. None of your concerns are forgotten. We care about everything that you're saying. I want to ask everybody that lives within the town of Dumfries if there are solutions, because there's a panel of 7 of us, I'm sorry. And as a town of almost close to 6,000. But I believe in my heart that if we could come together with solutions for this town, that we can have a better outcome, that we can have a good outcome, that we can have our children being safe, that we can have our seniors having enjoying themselves with the bingo and things like that. I believe that. So I'm going to ask that every citizen within the town of Dumfries, if you have solutions or a matter or issue or something that we may can work on, that you please bring it to us so we can try our best to do that. Yeah. Moving on, I want to thank the citizens from last night's event, from last night's matter. As I was in the neighborhood when this matter occurred, outside of the matter that occurred, I really want to thank the town citizens for their participation and, you know, they're just gathering. It's something of what, when I was in the Alexandria Fairfax County area, when I was looking for where else to go, and I found out in Dumfries, even watching the citizens all around here, this was a place where I wanted to bring my children to be raised. This is a place where you want your children to be raised. The community is good. The education within our school systems from, I know our Grant Park is outside of us, but our children go there. I know Forest Park is outside of us, but our children go there. Even within Dumfries Elementary. Support these events, guys. Go to these the schools and attend these children. We have matters and concerns and we talk about what we don't like. And we talk about what we do see. But as I listen, I would like to hear more of, if it's okay with you all, I would like to hear more of what we can do to help make it better. We're here for you all. Everyone, Ms. Quinn, Mr. Bob, the pastor from over Concadia, we're here for you all. So I'm going to ask that as adults, that if you have a concern that can help the town grow, because without you all and without us, this town won't move. But with us coming together, I believe that we can do a lot of things. There's a lot of counties and a lot of areas that kind of mark what we do around here. We do some good things around here. So I'm going to ask that, you know, with the concerns and matters that you do have, that you please reach out to us and not just say it, but walk it through, see it through to see if we can get some things going on around here that can help the town of Dumfries. We live here. We live here. Bless you. We live here. For me to come at you or for you to come at me, that doesn't help us. What I am, and I believe the council is also, is looking for our citizens to help us out also. We're 7, but we're 6,000 close to within this town. You know, not coming with bashing all the time. You know, not coming with put downs all the time. Not putting on emails of bashing all the time. But sometimes reaching out, maybe you didn't get your answer with one councilman. That's why we're a panel of 7. Why not try reaching out to another councilman or the town manager? We have a great town manager here to help us move forward with making this town a great place. Again, I came here because of the family unity that you all have developed here. It was a place where I wanted to raise my children, and this is a good place. You know, I've been from, I've come from the Fairfax County, Alexandria area. Some of the similar things still goes on. But when I was there, not only did we complain, but as the vice mayor say, we contribute also. So I'm asking the same thing here from the town of Dumfries, if we can contribute also. Everything is not a bash. Everything is not a put down. There is something within all of us that has a decency to help out this town. And I'm going to ask that you share this with the town of Dumfries, with the citizens, as well as the council members, as well as the town manager, and as well as the police department. Moving on from that, Chief Galen, I want to say thank you very much for what your staff have done, for your department, what your department has done last night. I was out there. I heard the shots. I was out there. I tried to assist along with, oh my Lord, the town citizens. This is what I'm talking about when I speak about unity. With this matter going on, the town citizens, regardless of what it was, came together and tried to help. That was big right there for someone's life, not for a matter or a concern of what you believe or don't believe within your head, but for a matter of trying to save someone's life. I seen that last night. Again, I want to give big thanks to Town of Dumfries Officer Banks. Officer Banks, I don't know if you all have seen her, but she did a great job last night as far as our department goes in the police department. So I want, again, Chief Galen, I want to say thank you for your department and continue to look for avenues to increase. Continue to look for avenues to help protect the town citizens. You know, that's a good thing that I'm seeing. And again, I actually seen it last night, hands-on with your staff. Great job at that part. Again, my heart goes out to the family of last night and to the other 3. You know, it was a tragic incident. Moving forward, I want to say this past weekend, we had a chance to experience an Autism Awareness Day, led by Pro Temp Salonia Miles. And I'm not sure if anyone knows about a child or someone that has a child or sibling of autism, but that's big to me because I have one in my family also. And it was a great experience to be able to see our children within the town of Dumfries. I'm talking about the town of Dumfries, y'all. Have a great time. It wasn't done like that. Again, come out and enjoy these events. Come see what the town is. Come see what we're providing for us. as we do not want our citizens to go outside of the area and deal with traffic to have to enjoy events and entertainment, but we're bringing them right here for the entertainment. So we ask that you all come out and enjoy some of the events here. I'm going to also ask that we if you haven't already, if you could please do so, tune in to the Dumfries Citizens Connection app. DCC is what we call it. We've been using it through GoGov, and we got a great number going on here, and it gets you information. You're able to see pretty much everything that's going on with the town here. You're able to view the previous meetings. You're able to go and request as a volunteer. Don't omit our volunteers. We love all volunteers. Anyone that wants to come out and not just be of let's say a complaint all the time, but at some point in time, where's the decency to want to help out your town? I came here to live here because of what you all had established and developed here, and to make it feel like a family-oriented unity community. So I'm also going to ask that we continue that. It's a good thing. And again, I like it here. I want to move on to I want to thank the Potomac Estates community. I mean, my apology, Prince William Estates. I always get the two mixed up. The Prince William Estates community, right behind Jimmy T's. I know where that's at. And I really want to thank you all for not just coming to harp down on the council here, but not only did you come with your complaints, which were great concerns, but you also came with some selective solutions. I want to say thank you all for that. That's what we're asking for from the citizens, not only to come with the complaints. We understand them, we will address them, but also with solutions that will help us move forward. You know, you don't have this, you don't have that, you're not doing that, you're not doing that. If you know something, if any of you all know something that can help this town out, as we all say we love this town because we live here, I ask that you share this with the town. Please, please do that. Again, I want to say thank you all again for the town, for being in this town of Dumfries. As we just hired our Director of Civic Engagement and Recreational, Mr. Ray Vines there. Thank you, sir. We're going to be looking to enjoy our town even more. So I'm going to ask, as long as I'm going to ask also, as well as we enjoy our town, that while we're doing this and creating these developments and these programs, that you all please give your implementation or your input or your decisions or your matters or your concerns or something, because when we can't do it all, but we can do it all with y'all, if that makes sense. Because I believe collectively, we can do a lot of things here within the town of Dumfries and make this and continue to make this place a great place to live. So I want to say thank you all from the Potomac Estates. I say it right? Prince William Estates. I get them mixed up because I'm always reading literature between the two. I'm always getting that confused. But from that development there, I want to say thank you all for actually not just coming here today. I've seen some of you all 3 times here. And in the first meeting, you all said something of involvement within the meetings, involvement within our events. And for the last 3 meetings, I've been seeing you guys' involvement in this meeting here as far as the town hall meeting goes. And I want to say thank you for that. And please reach out to individuals, the council member, Brian Fields, Sean Pete, Salonia Miles, Mayor Wood, Vice Mayor Monet Nicholson, Tyrone Brown, Katrina Peterson. We have our town attorney there and also the town manager, Tangela Ennis. Please reach out to us if you have concerns. Don't wait till it happens. There's a lot of things that we can do to be proactive to make things a lot better and smooth within the town of Dumfries. So again, thank you all for coming out. And I want to say thank you. And Mr. Mayor, that's all I have. Councilman Pete.
Who wants to go next? Elizabeth? Councilman, Woman Peterson, go ahead.
I just want to say congratulations to all the kids that graduated this weekend. I had a chance to go to Forest Park's graduation and it was great. So I just want to say, keep stepping, keep giving up, don't give up, just keep going. That's all I have.
Councilman Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. This is going to be short. Let's talk about gun violence awareness. I just want to piggyback on the mayor's proclamation. This is not something that starts in Dumfries. This is a countrywide movement. It's not about buying and purchasing a gun. It's about gun violence. I feel that some people are so, that their hearts are callous when someone dies and they want to laugh about it because they don't believe there's gun violence. That's sickening. That's disrespectful. So when we're talking about gun violence awareness, that's exactly what we're talking about. Let's get the community, let's get this country involved in trying to curtail gun violence. That may not mean removing all the guns off the streets. There could be something else, but if you don't have a solution and all you want to do is complain about it, that doesn't help the situation. From year to year to year, the rate goes up. So if it's not going down, we are not doing something correctly across this country. We are not doing something correctly. Gun violence affects neighbors. It may not be your family member that gets killed or shot, but it affects neighbors. It affects kids that gotta go to school. They have to deal with it's so much going on with gun violence and the after effect. This is not a joking matter. So if you're not serious about trying to fix a problem, you're a part of the problem if you come in with a callous heart. I'm just gonna leave that there. Chief, Prince William County Sheriff Department, U.S. Marshals, kudos, helicopter, whoever's flying the helicopter, thank you. That is taxpayers' money for gun violence. We complain about taxes, but that's a lot of money brought into the town of Dumfries just because of gun violence. And it's still continuing, they're still processing this. So this is not merely about purchasing a gun. It has many different effects, and we need to come together as a country, as a town, because this town can set standards. We don't have to accept or normalize gun violence in Dumfries. We don't have to do that. Likelihood is that we will, because we don't have enough involvement from the community. As Chief said, that if you see something, say something. If you know something, tell something. It is difficult for them, the police, to prosecute or apprehend people if no one wants to talk. We have accepted that. That's just the truth. So we're gonna do something about gun violence, again, not about restricting your rights to buy guns, but there's other things that we collectively can come together and do. Sorry for that long tangent. I yield.
Vice Mayor.
I don't even know if I should say anything. I do want to mirror the sentiment of the prayers and condolences to the families affected by yesterday's tragedy. As it has been mentioned, gun violence is, it's something that we all have to deal with, unfortunately. What I do want to point out is that it is a community problem. And in order to combat it, we have to work together because it is an epidemic. So we need all hands on deck. We have to call out each other with accountability. We need mentors, and we really need to move with a village mentality. That's really the only way that we are going to combat this epidemic. Gun violence is an epidemic. It's not about the guns. It's about the gun violence. And we have to combat it together as a community with a village mentality. We can't do it as individuals. We can't do it as a council. We can't do it as a mom, as a dad. We have to do it together. So we have to make sure that we are willing to work together. Moving on, this is the last week of school. So congratulations to everybody who's made it another step further. Congratulations to all the graduates. And because we will not be here before Father's Day, happy Father's Day in advance to all the amazing fathers out there. I yield.
Well, good day, everyone. I'm going to start with Vice Mayor left off by saying congratulations to everyone on every level who has graduated over the last couple of weeks and will continue to graduate. Your future is bright and your potential is only limited by your beliefs. Continue to dream big, and I guarantee you'll watch your dreams come to life. I want to continue to express my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you who continue to support your engagement and your commitment to making the town of Dumfries a vibrant and a thriving place where people just don't drive through, but it's a place that people drive to. Your active involvement is playing a significant role in continuing to shape our community into what it is becoming. Our mission here as a council, as a town body, is to transform Dumfries into an inviting, diverse, and inclusive community, making us the Southeast gateway into Washington, D.C. We have not perfected the process, but I ask that if you're a resident or a business owner and you got issues that you want to bring to the council and bring it to our awareness, has been said by my colleagues up on the dais, when you bring it, we ask that you also offer up your ideas on how we can make it better or how we can also do better. As we celebrate Father's Day this month, let's continue to honor all and appreciate the incredible roles that fathers and father figures play in our lives. They provide love, they provide guidance, and they support in shaping us into the individuals that we are today. June holds historical significance. We also celebrate Juneteenth this month. For those who don't know, it's a day that symbolizes the liberation of the enslaved African Americans in the United States. On that day, we reflect on the progress we have made in promoting equity, justice, and inclusivity. As we welcome these summer months, may the energy of the summer inspire us to embrace new challenges with enthusiasm. May it nurture our passions and create more meaningful connections. This month's food for thought: the pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. Winston Churchill. All right, next on our agenda is our first presentation. We're going to invite Ms. Jan Hawkins, the program director for Volunteer Prince William, to come up and talk about all of these wonderful volunteer programs and what they do for the community, how they transport our veterans and our seniors and all of that other good stuff around. Ms. Jan, the floor is yours, and welcome to the town of Dumfries.
So thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. Thank you for inviting me to be here this evening. And I'm delighted to talk with you a little bit about our agency, Volunteer Prince William. And as we say, you have 1 year, you have 365 opportunities to be a volunteer. So do I advance the slide or will, next slide, please. So we used to be on Center Street in Old Town Manassas. We just recently moved. We're now on Breeden Avenue. And if you're familiar with Did Lake, a nonprofit that works with finding employment opportunities for the disabled, we're on their complex now. Next slide, please. So our mission is building a stronger community by connecting volunteers with opportunities to serve. Volunteer Prince William has been around since 1981, and we work with community agencies to mobilize volunteers and resources to provide solutions for critical issues that are in our community. And this is the greater Prince William community, to include cities of Manassas and Manassas Park, and of course, the town of Dumfries. Next slide, please. So our main programs are Volunteer Connections, Community Engagement, Alternative Community Service, Disaster Services, what we call VETS, Veterans Enhanced Transportation Service, and our holiday program, Untrimetry. Next slide, please. So under Volunteer Connections, this is where people can go and find out where they can volunteer if they're not sure where to start. So they can visit our website, which is volunteerprincewilliam.org. You can sign up for a free account. Once registered, there's thousands of volunteer opportunities on our website that can be browsed, as well as community events that are posted by our nonprofit partners. If you see something that's of interest to you, there's a respond button that can be clicked on. An email goes right to that agency that you're interested in, and that agency gets back to the person to let them know what their next step is as far as becoming a volunteer with them. Right now, we have over 11,000 users registered on our website, and we are partnered with over 300 organizations, the majority in the greater Prince William area, some in Fairfax, others might be in Washington, D.C. Next slide, please. We also engage with the community. So we are members of the Prince William Chamber of Commerce. We belong to the Points of Light. We just recently hosted our annual volunteer recognition picnic, of which Mayor Wood was our keynote speaker. We were delighted to have him come and talk about how people can volunteer and serve the community. We do a weekly column called Call to Action, which comes out every Friday. We publish it on our website and also on our social media pages, and it's the latest in volunteer opportunities and events that need volunteers. So we please, by all means, take advantage of that. We provide the contact information on how people can get in touch to become a volunteer through that column. We also participate in community events such as Elder Care Resource Fair, the Prince William County Police Community Fair, which is going to happen in September. We take part in National Night Out. We normally go to the National Night Out held in Manassas City, but we do take part in that. Then every July, we also have what's called Probation Officers Appreciation Week. We host a luncheon for the probation officers because we work very closely with them in alternative community service, and it's our way of thanking them for what they do to work with their clients. We also support the Prince William County Fair, and we have participated in the Manassas Christmas Parade every year for at least 10, 15 years now. Next slide, please. So Alternative Community Service is the program that is for those who have gotten charged with a misdemeanor, such as drug possession, DUI, reckless driving, and either the courts have ordered the person to do community service or an attorney has recommended they do community service before they go before the judge. So those who are sent to us by the courts, they do not pay an intake fee. If you're a self-referral or you're referred by an attorney, there is a fee of $100, and that payment is made either in cash, exact amount only, money order, or credit card. Next slide, please. So those who are in our program for Alternative Community Service, they perform their service at selected nonprofit sites in the greater Prince William area, and the hours are reported back to us. They have to do their service at a nonprofit or at a church or maybe at their school in the case of a juvenile. If the client has a probation officer, then we will report those hours to that probation officer. And in FY23, we had 71 people who successfully completed those community service hours with nearly 1,100 hours of community service. If somebody needs more information, you can visit our website, volunteerprincewilliam.org. There's a drop-down menu called What We Do, and under that called Court Services. You can find all the information you need if you need to explore that a little more for yourself or somebody else. Next slide, please. So one other thing we do is disaster services. And I know I always get people that say, oh, we don't get disasters in Prince William County, in which I say, well, remember the derecho, remember Superstorm Sandy, we got the fallout, remember Tropical Storm Lee, which messed up the Holly Acres Trailer Park in Woodbridge. So we may not get hit with them constantly like Florida or Louisiana does, but we still get our share of disasters. And our number one hazard in Prince William County is flooding. So next slide, please. So what we do is we partner with the Prince William County Office of Emergency Management. And at the time of a disaster, we will set up and manage a volunteer reception center. We will recruit, train, and assign volunteers to roles to help out after a disaster strikes. We also will refer volunteers who are interested in helping with disaster services to such agencies such as the American Red Cross or the local agency known as Medical Reserve Corps. Our website allows people to sign up and say, I'm interested in volunteering for disaster services. We right now have over 2,000 individuals who've indicated they have an interest in helping should a disaster strike. Next slide, please. So what we do when there's not a disaster is we will distribute disaster preparedness information at community events. We post disaster information on our social media. We participate in disaster-related drills and events, and we do trainings. And we also will support City of Manassas and City of Manassas Park as well in times of disaster. Next slide, please. So this one, the program's Veterans Enhanced Transportation Service, which we call VETS. Next slide, please. And we are very grateful and thank the Potomac Health Foundation because through their generosity, we were awarded a grant, which is allowing us to continue and expand this program to local veterans and their spouses. So we do thank Potomac Health Foundation for their ongoing support. Next slide, please. So the VETS program is a partnership with the Prince William Area Agency on Aging and us. It was started in 2014, and it was started because there was a man who was a senior citizen, a veteran. He needed to get to an appointment at the VA hospital in DC and could not find anybody that was willing to give him a ride. So Volunteer Prince William and the agency kind of put their heads together, came up with this program and named it the VETS program. And so volunteers will drive senior citizen veterans and or their spouse to local doctor's appointments, to the grocery store, church services, if they need a ride to one of the senior centers. We're there to help them out. Next slide, please. So to qualify for the program, a client must be a senior citizen, age 60 or over, living in the greater Prince William community, to include town of Dumfries, of course. They need to either be an honorably discharged veteran or the spouse or widow of a veteran. In the program, the agency does have the requirement that the client must be able to walk from their home to the volunteer's vehicle. Now, if they're on a cane or a walker, that's fine. The one thing that we're not able to do is accept anybody who's confined to a wheelchair because that's just too much liability on the volunteers for trying to lift them in and out of a wheelchair. So interested clients can call the Agency on Aging's referral number, which I show here on the slide, 792-6374. The caseworkers will do an over-the-phone screening, which takes about 10 minutes. They will then send the referral form to me, and I take it from there as far as finding a volunteer. Next slide, please. So the volunteers will pick up the client at their home, take them to their appointment or to the grocery store. If they need to, they can wait with the client or shop with the client, and then they will return that client home and make sure the person is safely inside their home before leaving. Next slide, please. So since 2014, we've had nearly 40 volunteers who've provided over 3,000 rides for over 200 veterans and their spouses in Greater Prince William. The benefits, it's a win-win all around because obviously the clients are getting their medical needs met, they're getting their shopping done, they're able to get to the senior center. They can keep living independently in their home so they don't have to think about being moved into assisted living. They are riding with a friendly volunteer, and many of these volunteers I have are veterans themselves, so that gives them a lot to have in common with the volunteer. And because of that social interaction with the volunteers, this has created lessened feelings of isolation and depression because many of them don't drive anymore. You're stuck in the house all day and the walls can kind of close in on you when you're there all the time. And in some cases, some of the rides we have provided have been saving lives. Because I have some clients who are dealing with cancer, who are dealing with dialysis, and several of them have said to me, if we didn't have this program, I would be dead by now. And the clients have loved the program. They have said such things like, without it, it'd be so much harder for me to get to my appointments since I don't drive. The volunteer drivers are so friendly. They're so upbeat. If I'm having a bad day, they do much to lift my spirits. And my favorite one was one client I had who was in her 90s. She said, I love going to the doctor because of your volunteers. Next slide, please. So I always have a need for volunteers. You have to be at least 21. And they can always be used to drive clients. It's a flexible schedule. So if you don't have a lot of time, it can only drive maybe a couple times a month, we can still have you help out. It's always done on weekdays. It's not too often that we have clients that have weekend requests. Most of the ride requests take maybe about 2 to 3 hours. Volunteers do have to go through a criminal background and a driving record check. And thanks to the Potomac Health Foundation grant, we're able to provide a mileage allowance for the volunteers to help them with some of the mileage they're putting in on their vehicles. And I'm Jan Hawkins, so you feel free to contact me if you'd like more information. I also have some of my cards with me if you'd like to get one. Next slide, please. And finally, our holiday program, Untrimetry. Next slide, please. This is our annual gift giving program during the Christmas holidays, which helps vulnerable local families and is executed in coordination with Prince William County Title I schools, as well as the Title I schools at City of Manassas and City of Manassas Park. The parents will register their child, come up with a wish list, then people will sign up to sponsor a child, and each child gets provided with 2 gifts. We ask that the combination amount of the gifts be around no more than $75. For homebound senior citizens, we also do what we call senior baskets or senior gift bags. And this is a basket or gift bag, which has things that a homebound senior like blankets, hats, gloves, scarves, hard candies, holiday CD, maybe a holiday movie, that sort of thing. So the donors sign up to sponsor, or as we say here, adopt a child or to donate a senior basket. And the donations are all brought to a central location, which are then organized, sorted, and we work with the county schools to get those gifts to the schools that the child attends so that they can get there in time for Christmas. Next slide, please. So last year in 2023, we had over 3,000 children who had gifts on Christmas morning. We had nearly 550 senior baskets and gift bags that were donated. And those bags went to Meals on Wheels clients, clients with the Agency on Aging, our vets clients, of course, and also residents of local nursing homes who didn't have anybody that was coming to see them for the Christmas holiday. We had 30 volunteers who helped sort, organize toys, pack bags, put bags together for kids that didn't have a sponsors, but we made sure we had gifts for them anyway. They also helped transport those senior baskets and gift bags to the various clients so that they would have it all in time for the Christmas holiday. We do have a dedicated email for Untrimetry. Right now it's dormant since it's obviously June, but you can contact any volunteer Prince William staff member about Untrimetry anytime throughout the year, and we're happy to answer your questions. Also, if you feel like you want to support it, but you just say schedule's tight, I can't really do that, you can also make a monetary donation. That donation button is online year-round. The next slide, please. So this is our contact information for the staff, our executive director, Ashley Mullins, then myself, Jan Hawkins. I deal primarily with volunteer information, the VETS program, Shelley Tibbs is the person who handles the Alternative Community Service Program, and I provided all the contact information for all three of us. So we're a small group, but we're pretty mighty. So next slide, please. And of course, you can visit us on our website, volunteerprincewilliam.org. Also invite you to like us on our social media pages. We're on Facebook as Volunteer Prince William, and also on X, formerly called Twitter, at Volunteer PW. Next slide. Are there any questions from the council?
Council Chair Pro Tem.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for that presentation. I just actually have one question
Yes, ma'am.
about the trips to the doctor's office. Is
Mhm.
there a limit on the mileage? I know you mentioned one vet, his appointment was in DC.
You
Are we
can
limited to?
You can drive as much or as little as you're comfortable with. The bulk of the appointments are local, and the bulk of my clients do come from this side of the county, which makes sense because of Quantico being up the road and Fort Belvoir being over there in Fairfax County. So, but we have clients that go to local appointments. We have some clients that they have appointments maybe in Fairfax County at Fair Oaks or Fairfax Hospital. I have some clients that because of their medical situation, they have to go to the VA in DC. And that one's a big challenge because I know nobody wants to drive in DC. I understand that. But the only real limit that we have is we cannot transport anybody to the Naval Hospital up in Bethesda, because that's just too far. If somebody does have an appointment, say at the VA hospital in Martinsburg, West Virginia, we can do that as well. It's a little bit longer, but you're not driving in downtown traffic either, so.
Perfect. Actually, one more.
Yes.
I know you said that y'all work with Prince William County School Systems and you provide these gifts to Title I schools. Do you get a list from the school, from central office to say, okay, these are the schools you're going to target? Or do the schools have to apply to be considered? How do we?
The counselors will determine which of the children would qualify for the program. And then those parents are notified, and then they will register on an online database. That database usually opens up. We start working on this like right after Labor Day. And that database usually opens up in the first part of October, and we keep it open through the whole month of October to give parents enough time to sign up. Then we have to, close it and make sure we get all the duplicates out of there so that we have a complete and accurate list.
Okay, thank you so much.
Ms. Jan, I have one question
Yes.
for you. Your list of volunteers, either your alternative community service or your volunteer connections. When we do events here in the town of Dumfries and we're looking for volunteers to participate, can we tap into your network?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can contact me. I have my card. I'm not sure if I gave you my card at the picnic, but you can contact me directly and say, the town of Dumfries just had the Autism Festival. If you needed volunteers for that, shoot me an email. We're happy to get that up on social media, also out in our call to action column so that we can get it out to as many people as possible, because this agency covers the entire Prince William community.
Okay. All right. Councilman Pete.
Thank you for your presentation, Ms. James. How can the town of Dumfries benefit from utilizing you all's volunteer base?
Well, let's see. Of course, you have events that come up where you could use volunteers. Let's say this time of the year, we get in fact, we actually had one just recently, I think, in Dumfries. They had a community cleanup to, just kind of beautify the town. And I happened to catch it so that we could recruit volunteers to come and help out the town of Dumfries with that. So as you feel that you need volunteers to help with whatever you're doing, just let us know, because we're very, very open to pushing out volunteer opportunities. And also, especially if you have opportunities that are family friendly, because you all know kids have to do those service hours for school or club or scouts. And it's always a challenge for them to find agencies or programs that will take them, especially if they're younger. So.
Okay.
Hope that helped.
It kind of helped me a little bit,
Okay.
because what I've been envisioning for the last year or so is for the town of Dumfries to create their own volunteer base.
Mm-hmm.
right? So, you guys assist with the events also, yeah?
Yes, uh-huh.
Okay, right. So I'm getting that. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm not looking what I'm envisioning, and I'm not looking for Prince William County to come in here with a whole volunteer base to which we can establish here within ourselves, which we've just created a recreation and community department. I would definitely like to see if we can work together.
Absolutely.
I will, town manager, I would like to see if we could, work on building a volunteer base that the town of Dumfries has for itself. And if also, if needed as an assistance, that we can reach out to, Prince William Volunteer Base to help us if need be.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, I believe that right down the street here with Quantico Marine Base, that we have, and we have numerous Marines that need some volunteer hours, and I believe that we can look into that. I just believe that we can create a town of Dumfries volunteer base and with along with assisting you all. I mean, with reaching out to you all for assistance if need be. I don't see. I like the idea, but I don't see the long haul here. And as far as tapping into or reaching out to volunteer Prince William, if we're looking to create a volunteer base here ourselves. So I don't want to omit that part here within the town of Dumfries. I would like to see if we could create our volunteer base and maybe partners on some events with the Prince William County volunteer base, not for Prince William County base to be our sole volunteer base that we rely on. I believe that we have the structure here to create a volunteer base that we can utilize here. And if you all are willing to help us out as far as that goes, I believe that we are in position to partner with you all as far as helping out with some of our events.
Okay. Did I hear during the meeting that you had just hired somebody to be in a community engagement?
Yes, ma'am. We just hired our community and service director.
That
Mr.
would be a
Rayvon.
good person to work with.
Mr. Rayvon, if you don't mind waving your hand to Jan, please.
I'll give you my card.
Yes, if you guys could exchange information to see where we can go as far as creating a town of Dumfries volunteer base. We had this before back in the past where the town of Dumfries had a volunteer base. And I would like to see if we can reestablish that along as well as partnering with the Prince William County volunteer base.
Great.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your time.
All right, Ms. Jan, thank you for coming in to tell us about your program, Volunteer Prince William, and sharing with us all the great things that they do.
Thank you.
This time, I'm just gonna take a 10-minute recess. So everybody can stretch. All right, welcome back. The, during the break, I had the opportunity to talk to Mr. Jacobs and see the document so that it was not the Harbor Reserve, it was the Potomac Church Community Development Project. So I just want to make sure I said that for our minutes so that it's clearly stated. Thank you, Mr. Jacobs. All right. Next is a presentation from our finance department on what it takes to get there. To get there. You gotta say that again because the mic is off.
Can you hear me? Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. We're going to do a quick overview of the what it takes for us to get there. We have been handed a lot of goals for the finance department for the next couple of years. So this is just going to detail of what is needed to receive those goals and how can we continue to move the town forward. Okay. There we go. Okay, so the bond rating. Currently, the town does not have a credit rating, but there are 3 national credit rating agencies, Moody's, Standard & Poor's, and Fitch. When it comes to Moody's, what they're looking for is impact of fund balance policies, multi-year financial capital planning, liquidity management, accuracy of budget forecast, and willingness to make mid-year adjustments, reliance on non-reoccurring or one-shot revenues. S&P's major focus is revenues and expenditure assumptions, budget amendments and updates, long-term financial planning, long-term capital planning, investment management policies, debt management policies, and reserve and liquidity policies. The next slide shows us S&P's views on reserves and liquidity policies. What makes a town or locality vulnerable would be absence of basic policies, if they do or do not exist, and if they're being followed. S&P's views on investment management policies, vulnerability would be absence of informal or non-published policies again. And S&P's views on debt management policies, the vulnerability would come from absence of basic policies or clear evidence that basic policies are being followed. Okay. Criteria for accomplishing bond rating or path forward. We already have meetings set up with our financial advisors to start working on for the town to receive an initial bond rating. There are some other steps that we need to take before we can get to that point, but we're working on reaching out to the credit rating agencies, putting together financial policies and requirements that are needed so that we can go before the credit rating agency to receive a good initial bond rating. All right. Some things that can also increase the bond rating from your initial bond rating that was received is maintaining reserves and liquidity levels, tax-based growth and diversification, and strengthening median household income and population growth. Okay. So there are a few awards that finance has been working on looking towards receiving or qualifying for. One would be the GFOA Financial Reporting Award. To meet the GFOA Financial Reporting Award, there are quite a few items that we need to work on in the town as far as our annual report goes. There are specific qualifications that have to be on an ACFR at the end of the fiscal year so that it can be even submitted to GFOA prior to. Even though these look repetitive, there is 3, 4, and 5. So at least if you have those 3 items, you can submit it to GFOA. It's a few things that the town is missing that we're working on implementing for this upcoming annual report so that we can submit it, which is the letter of transmittal, additional statistical data, and an updated MDA. Okay. The next award would be the GFOA Popular Annual Financial Award. So we cannot submit an application for the Popular Award until we submit and receive the Financial Reporting Award. So all of these awards coincide with each other. So we can't get one. We have to get all of them to get the Triple Crown Award, is pretty much saying. And that's the Triple Crown. Again, we must receive all other awards prior to even being able to submit for the Triple Crown Award. Okay. And in conclusion, the town of Dumfries is heading in the right direction, which we are. We have been focusing highly on bringing the town into compliance with GAP, APA, and GFOA. This is not an overnight process. However, it does take participation of all departments as well as council to ensure that we are abiding by the town's adopted strategic plan, the adopted financial policies, and adopted budget, and being good stewards of the town's money. Okay. Any questions?
Oh, thank you for that thorough presentation. We're excited. It's been a priority of this council's for the last 2 years to get there, and it's glad to know we're on the right track. Although we were hoping to get there in the 2025 budget season, we're optimists that your finance department is coming together to put everything into place so we can be in a place by next fiscal year.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Put that out there by next fiscal year to get there. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilman Fields.
Ms. Jordan, thank you
Yes.
for the wonderful update.
You're welcome.
It's been about a year now since you've been here, a little over?
It'll be a year at the end of July.
Wow.
You know, time moves fast.
Yes, we've come a long way and we greatly appreciate all that you and your department has done.
Thank you.
Just for public, just let us know what your department consists of,
Mhm.
please, and members you have in the department and responsibilities.
Sure, absolutely. So not only does finance fall under me, the treasury does as well. So that would be the DMV Select and Treasury's Department. And then we also have accounts payable, grants, procurement, receivables, payroll, grants, budget, as well as general ledger.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Big shoes.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Councilman P.
Ms. Jordan, thank you there, Mr. Mayor. I want to say thank you again, Town Manager, Ms. Jordan, for your department. You guys are always doing what needs to be done for this town here. Again, I want to say thank you again. My motto is, if I see you, I always tell you to do this. When I see you two in the building, I know this town is in a good space. So again, thank you all for your hard work and continue to do great work.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Jordan, thank you.
You're welcome.
Continue
Thank
to diversify our finances.
Thank
Get
you.
us to where we need to be. All right, next on the agenda is, we have no consent agenda. No, sorry, we'll move to the presentation of our events calendar. Sorry, I jumped too soon. Mr. Ray Vines, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Chair Pro Tem, council members, town manager, and town leadership staff. Good evening to you. So I appreciate the opportunity to stand before you tonight to present the 2024 special events calendar. So council voted on a list of events that the department would conduct and carry out throughout the year. And so this document provides the month and the date that each of those actual events will take place. And so each event will have its marketing efforts, flyers, things of that nature to disseminate to the public and to the community, so we can continue to drive people to our events. And if council has an opportunity to review the document, if you have the opportunity, if you have any questions, I will answer those for you.
Will all of these be on the website with like drop down boxes for people to either be able to register, or if there are opportunities for vendors and stuff that they'll be able to, once this get approved, so that it's like just an ongoing thing that is already there?
Yes, we are going to develop those types of approaches on the website to make sure that it's very interactive. It makes it easy on the staff to track who's coming in, who wants to be a vendor, who's registering. There are some ideas that we have to capture some of that information that include the website and some other platforms, but we're going to be working through implementing those over the next couple of weeks and months.
And then this will also be a part of the Dumfries Citizens Connect app, all of these?
Most definitely.
Okay,
Most definitely.
that's fine. All right. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. For any of these that have rain dates, I don't see them up here for rain dates, but some of them rain, are all of them rain or shine, or are some of them like rain dates, like movie night? That's the only thing that I would think may be postponed due to weather.
So the two events that you see rain dates on are events that were coming up, they were upcoming. And so it was the Autism Appreciation Event and then Juneteenth. So we had actually established the rain dates for those. So we put them on there. Once we actually move forward with making sure that these dates are okay with you all, we'll actually apply rain dates to any of our outdoor events. So I actually have a working document that the staff uses that actually has the time of the actual events, the rain dates already set, and we already have the 2025 date set as well. And so we have rain dates for 2024 events and for 2025. It's just making sure that council and leadership are okay with those dates, and then we'll list those as well.
Great, thank you.
Councilman P.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Vines, for the presentation. Again, I'm glad to see that you're on board to get things moving, and I'm excited to be a part of these events that are going to be presented to the town of Dumfries. One thing that I have here is, will this be presented like this on the web, on the Dumfries Citizen app?
Yes, the goal is to have a document like that to disseminate to the public, but then we will create a format that is user-friendly and easy to read for the website. And so I've actually already started conversations with staff about how we can start to develop that.
Okay, great. I'm glad to hear that. Two things that I would ask that you include in this also is that I'm going to say if we can have this by next meeting, if we can, I'm about to tell you. If we can have the times of which ones we can get the times for of opening, start and finish, and if we can have the location, that's all. All right. Yes, ma'am.
I will include those in the town manager's report for the next meeting, sir.
Okay, perfect, perfect. That right outside of that, this looks great. This is something that we, in action for a calendar of events. So, it's just very important for the citizens to have this and be able to see the time, location, time of close, time of start. So we're able to put in our calendars of, or they can put in their calendars of how to schedule and be a part of the event. Mr. Vines, again, thank you much for this right here, this calendar of events. I like it. It's looking good. Just a few little tweaks and then we're in the right position. Again, thank you, sir. Thank you, man.
Councilman Fields.
Yes, sir. Great. Glad you're here. I think we've talked on the side as a lot as well. The 21st of December, it looks like the time that we will probably have our Christmas in Dumfries, nicknamed Shop with a Cop, that Saturday morning. That's usually at 8 o'clock. So if you could get with the police department on that to verify that time and date, but it's usually the Saturday before Christmas, except for last year because of Christmas Eve was the next day. But it probably should be the 21st. I know, that's why I mentioned it to him. Yeah, it should be on the 21st. Christmas in Dumfries Shop with the Cop. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna ask the question on the International Men's Day in the month of November. June is Men's Health Month. It's also Father's Day. November mental health, some of those other months, and it's a heavy football and sports time of the year. So was there a method behind November being the month to celebrate men versus in the June timeframe?
So one of the things that I did in researching and looking at the dates was, talking to staff, looking at social media, looking at past posts. I didn't see a lot about International Men's Day. I'm familiar with, Men's Health Month being in June. And so if we want to transition that, we can, but it was basically just looking back at other information to see if with this particular event, I don't necessarily remember seeing anything about it. And just trying to maneuver and try to find the best place for it. And information that I looked at, November was that month, but we can definitely look at moving it if need be.
Just to provide some historical context, last year when this event was introduced, International Men's Day is actually in November. So even though this is Men's Health Month, it's celebrated in November, and that's how it came to that point. And then also, I just also want to remind everybody, we voted on these events in the times a couple months ago. So that would have been something that Mr. Vines picked out. So just wanted to put some historical context.
No, I was asking about the date, not the events. I didn't know we voted on the dates already. These dates are already good. Well, we,
I believe y'all voted on all of the events in the month that the events would take care of. But if y'all council would like to change them, y'all can just do another vote and we're good with that as well.
sorry, Councilman Brown.
So just one question. Thank you for the actual schedule you laid out. It's nice. So the summer concert series, I know this is a new thing that requested for this year. The Thursdays, that's kind of odd to me. If we're gonna get participation on that, I think it should be split a little to Friday or Saturday. And I know we don't have a lot of Saturdays, so maybe Friday would it be a better date if we're gonna try to get participation from the community, if that's possible. That's it. Other than that, thank you.
All right, Vice Mayor.
Was the summer concert series on the events that we voted on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
All right, Councilman Pete.
Thank you, man. Mr. Vines, not to Mr. Brown, summer concerts are normally held on the weekends of, the events. Yes, our summer concerts are normally held on a Saturday of the 3-month summer series, June, July, and August. And I'm gonna ask if we can move them to the weekends in June, July, and August. That's where we came out and participated in these events. I don't know of how much participation and prior practice in doing these events. This wouldn't be my first time of running through a summer series concert, series. 3 summer series concerts. We actually established this in Park and Rec some time ago. I'm not for sure of the participation that would be gathered on a Thursday in the summertime versus on the weekend when everybody's off. This just prior practice that we've utilized back in the past. Just some things to bring into highlight of the summer series concerts for the summer. And then, like I said, they were generated pretty much on the weekends. That's all, man.
Town Manager, then Councilman Brown.
We can consider moving the summer concert series to the weekend if that is the will of the council. I've heard from Councilmember Brown as well as Councilmember Pete. This is what we came up with, but most definitely if that's what council wants, that's what we will make happen.
Councilman Brown.
So I'm not set in stone on Friday. I see that we have a lot of other events scheduled, and I know we're trying to spread this out. Maybe if there's something that's not conflicting, if the concert is going to be in the evening on one of the days that we're having something in the morning, that would make sense. And I would agree with Councilman Pete. But again, scheduling is you all. So just try to make it work for us. Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. As far as the summer concert series, so right up the road in Stonehenge, I don't know what it's called, where Wegmans is. I know that they have a summer concert series. And so I would say we want to look into when they have theirs, because I don't think we want to compete with them, because they definitely bring out a crowd. And what I don't want to see is us frivolously spending money to bring in big names for a concert. And then we don't have a high turnout like we did for our 275th. We spent a lot of money for a big name and we didn't have a turnout. So that wasn't money well spent. And if we're doing a summer concert series, we don't want to compete with a summer concert series that's already has, a following that's literally right up the street. So I would just really look into what's going on right around us. So we might not be
There's also one at the airport building. That happens during the summer as well. So the summer as well. Just one time. Thank you for your presentation. Next is the resolution of the water. Okay. Next.
Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, Chair Pro Tem, and members of council. I guess during our last or a few council meetings ago, we provided information on the Harbor Reserve project, and we presented at the time that there is an easement requested, an opportunity for utilities and stormwater access, and the Director of Public Works is here to provide that presentation.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. A few weeks ago, we were talking about the Prince William Estates and the resulting stormwater and issues from that area. As a result of that, we were asked to look into defining the program for maintenance, the stormwater management, the erosion sediment control in the MS4 program. So what we're trying to do is develop a more holistic program as it applies to maintenance of those infrastructure and stormwater assets to make it where it's more amenable to the neighborhood as well as the other surrounding area. We use the guiding ordinances from the stormwater as well as the best management practices associated with maintaining those assets, and couple that with MS4, good housekeeping, and maintaining those facilities at a higher standard. So we're coming up with a more routine and cyclical way of looking at those assets to ensure that we're minimizing the amount of flooding and issues that we're having in those neighborhoods. Currently, right now, we have issues still outstanding with the Quantico Creek Project Phase 2 that needs to go forward. In preparation for this presentation, I did look at a lot of those assets and saw that they are a bit overgrown with vegetation, but they were free, clear, heavy debris and things of that nature. So the water was running as intended, but we do need to move forward with the second phase of that project, plus following up on the phase 1 and do the maintenance part of that project and move forward. There's 2 more phases in the Quantico Creek project for out years that we need to look at investing in as well. One of the things that you're looking at is the historic blockages that we've had through that area, which has come from some homeowners depositing vegetation, wood debris, things of that nature along the creek. A lot of that's coming from upstream. So as it comes down, when we have these 3-4 inch rains, it has no choice but to move forward and block up some of the structures. One of the programs that I'm looking at implementing is a before and after storm event monitoring and mitigation to make sure that we're at least making every attempt to make sure that those assets are open and moving, but there's no guarantee. So as we're looking at what's upstream of us and other jurisdictions, all of that's going to come down and it's going to cause blockages at some point, but we got to work to minimize that. Looking at the Quantico Creek itself, this is one access point that I found. It is overgrown. but the water was running. You could hear it moving through the area. Didn't see a lot of debris in the area, so I'm confident that right now we're in good shape, but we need to get on top of it before anything else happens along the way. The storm sewers throughout Prince William Estates, we looked at all of the ones that we could get to. We popped lids, looked down through them. Everything was free and clear, no heavy debris buildups, no siltation. So we're in good shape right now, and I don't think it's a major concern. But again, the program that I'm building is more holistic, treating it before we get to that point. So some of the things that we're looking at is some of the street sweeping that goes on throughout the town. I've noticed that some areas are done well, some areas not so well. So we're going to go with revising the street sweeping to make sure that we're mitigating issues where we have siltation, organic material buildup, overhanging trees, branches, things of that nature that eventually end up downriver into the storm system. In the proposal, to mitigate a lot of this, again, it's the Quantico Phase 2. We're trying to put together a program to talk to the citizens that neighbor that section of the creek to get the easements, so that way we could go in and do the mitigation work there, and creating that ongoing maintenance plan to keep up both phases as we go along. Monitoring, inspecting, ensuring that the street sweeping, litter program, debris removal, all of that has to go along with this in order to make this work. One of the big issues that I see going along the way with this is public education. Getting people to understand what they do at their home creates issues down the line, downstream, for both the town as well as the neighbors. Outfall monitoring, we have several locations that we have mapped. I'm working on getting those put into the GIS layers, getting it updated, making sure that we have current assessments, looking to see if there's any improvements that's needed in them, or if we need to mitigate any of the outfalls with the rocks and things of that nature to slow the water down, but keep it moving. Stormwater facilities, same issue, looking at positive drainage throughout the town. Over the years, a lot of that has either been degraded due to lack of maintenance or lack of recutting the areas. Looking at the town as it falls, and I believe someone mentioned before, as Dumfries being a pit. So basically, we have to make sure that the water from up top is flowing down naturally and not getting stuck in between. So as it reaches Main Street, we got to make sure that that's free and clear, positive drainage, no pooling along the way in the neighborhoods. Looking forward, I think the watershed cleanups, as we complete the actual Quantico Creek cleanups, we need to start looking at a more aggressive approach, getting citizens involved, doing annual or quarterly cleanups along the creeks and along those waterways to help maintain the debris deposits and just doing good housekeeping in those areas. Working to get the Dominion Drive culvert project completed. I looked at that. It was started, but it looks like it was never completed. The street was saw cut, but that's as far as I could tell it went. So I'm still trying to get a hold of that one and get that one up and going, which will actually increase the drainage through that area, which will help out Prince William Estates greatly. Looking at increasing the culvert cleaning and the stormwater asset cleaning. That's, again, a cyclical program that we want to make sure that we have in place to address issues before they occur. One of the biggest issues is the verification of all of the MS4 sites, the inlets, the outfalls. Again, getting those GIS layers updated, doing assessments of the current structures, coming up with what it'll cost to get those back in order and making that a capital improvement plan over a time span, so that way we're able to work at it incrementally. We're working to update all of the data associated with the stormwater system, including the billing, which hasn't been done in a number of years. So I'm currently working with the consultants to get that information verified for the impervious surfaces throughout town. So we may end up seeing some changes along the way with that, but I'm not ready to really present on it. Just wanted to give a heads up. That's all I had. Any questions?
If you can go back to the slide with the culprit with the overgrown it was back at the beginning. That one there.
Yes.
Is that the one right there on Dominion and EB?
Yes.
All right. And so if you walk up going south on it, up the creek, you can see some of the trees that's starting to actually lean down, and where you can kind of see some of the blockages when you come up and when you walk along. And I think that it was said some years ago, and I guess this is where you're trying to develop the assets. I know we have easements right of ways on both sides of that particular property there and going down. But a lot of the issues for that blockage comes from a lot of those trees falling in there and kind of swimming down, blocking up that tire size hole that's there, if maybe even smaller than I think that tire size hole, which caused, and I think in 2020 or 2018, 2020, we had a major flood where the water came up to the mailboxes right there on that street.
Okay.
So that is a major issue for us, and I see the potential, and I walked up there of where a lot of that vegetation can really block it up, because it's with that water, a lot of those roots
Yes.
are very loose in there. So it's some big trees leaning. So I don't know how far it is. I thank you for your definitely your recommendation for when we do the cleanup to actually get out there in the creeks, because when you're actually out there in the creeks, you can see how much stuff is really out there and it's blocking and causing that damage. So thank you for just the update on some of our assets and your assessments and your recommendations. So, Mr. Tabor.
Okay. So related to the comments of the Director of Public Works, before you is a resolution that would grant and convey to the town of Dumfries by the owner a storm sewer easement to construct, operate, maintain, add, or alter present or future storm sewer lines, necessary inlet structures, manholes, and related facilities to collect stormwater and storm sewage and its transmission through and across the property. The property easement is described as a variable with stormwater sewer easement granted on the plat that's provided in your packet. The easement is subject to the following terms and conditions. All sewers, manholes, and related facilities installed in the easement granted to the town shall be and remain the property of the owner. However, if the town implements a comprehensive maintenance program, the owner will, on request of the town, convey the improvements to the town. Number two, the town and its agents shall have full and free use of the easement, including the right to access to and from the right-of-way and the right-of-way abutting land adjoining the easement where necessary. However, the right to use abutting land shall be exercised only during periods of actual construction or maintenance, and then only to the minimum extent necessary for the construction or maintenance. This right does not allow the town to erect any permanent building or structure on any such abutting land. This resolution accepts the deed of easement and authorizes the town manager to execute and deliver documents to put the acceptance of the deed into effect as approved to legal form by the town attorney. The easement is located on the property addressed as 4151 EB Drive, parcel number 8189506854. And it is adjacent to the property that is proposed for the Harbor Reserve Townhouse project.
Questions?
This actually, I just want to be very clear as we move forward with this resolution because of the nature of the project and because it is a very sensitive subject for a lot of our residents. I want to make sure that we're clear on what we're doing here and that we're not, I want to make sure we're not unintentionally giving the message that we're approving this development or that we are in support of this development, right? So I just want to verify that this only gives us the permission, if we were to approve it, to maintain that area, to maintain the stormwater. Is that, can you verify? Okay,
Yes.
okay. And also alternatively, and this might actually be a question more for the attorney, what would be the consequences to not approving this resolution?
So as I think I touched on this in the past, Madam Pro Tem, if we don't accept the easement as it's being granted at this moment, if in the future the town wanted to implement a stormwater program in that area and would have to utilize access over these parcels, we might be in a place where we would have to actually compensate the attendant property owners for that access. If you look through the terms that are in this document, you will see that this easement is being granted for no consideration at all other than to make this access available. It's being given on a permanent and perpetual basis, and so it will be available for us in the future whenever it was necessary. But you know, everything hinges on what we do here. And again, if we don't take it now, at some point in the future, we might have to pay for it. And I think the presenter for the stormwater program, Mr. Nichols, signaled that we were now in a process of now trying to acquire easements from individual property owners just to go to phase 2 of the Quantico Creek. And we don't know how that's going to look on the back end. And we'd be stepping into a similar situation in the future in this particular location if we don't accept it. So we don't have to, but those are the alternatives that you have.
Okay, and thank you, Madam Attorney, for that explanation. And yes, you have explained that to us, but I just want to make sure we move forward in complete transparency because we know that that project is not something that's desirable. And I want to make sure that there's no confusion with our residents about what we're doing here to be proactive in maintaining stormwater. I don't want that to be confused with support of that project. So thank you.
Just want to ask a question that was asked of us earlier. Is there a way that we can collect stormwater fees from the properties that'll be dumping down in this stormwater? Do we know the answer to that?
We're in the process of looking at the stormwater ordinance now and having that evaluated. So that is one of the questions that I am working with the consultants on, is how do we look at other jurisdictions, whether it be federal, state, or other localities, our ability to charge them if they're impacting our system. So if there's no impact to our system and they maintain their facility, there's not currently a way to charge. But if it does impact us, I'm looking at how do we impose that.
All right. Now, is there a specific criteria that the town is using to request in your number 1 there, the owner to convey the improvements to the town as part of a comprehensive maintenance program? Or are we required to maintain it once we take that deed of easement or something like that?
In this particular case, that section is on the town to maintain. But it's a minute section based on the calculations that's feeding into there of the stormwater calculations that were done on that. So it's not a vast amount there. But if the system as a whole upstream of us is dumping into ours, then that's what I'm trying to approach in the actual ordinance.
With this, I guess there's concerns from the development now with the trees being cut down, with a lot of the runoff and the siltation possibly from the dirt and stuff that's over there now getting in there, silting up, and mitigating all the work we're already doing on Quantico Creek. You know, is there anything we can do, you know, with that runoff? Can we require them to make improvements now to what's going on now, being that they cut down all those trees and it's right there next to our, what do we call that, runoff, our little creek there?
As far as I know, the reserve has, was it 5 ponds, 5 BMPs that are on that facility that they'll be treating their stormwater within. So what we're looking at is that short road that's coming through 4151. So that's where the concern for Dumfries is at, is in that short section of roadway, not necessarily in that development.
I think that, you know, that community is concerned about the development's impact to just running off in their development. So it's a concern now. One, they've seen an increase in wildlife running through now with a lot of the foxes no longer. I know nobody's hunting the foxes, so the foxes have like doubled or tripled out there. So, you know, we're looking for any measures for like all of that wildlife now that no longer has a home that's just kind of running through, as well as all that settlement. So I know we only get a small part, but I know there's still a concern on that greater part, and we're just figuring out what role do we play because it's impacting that community.
Based on the calculations I'm seeing, it's that community is self-contained within their own stormwater management. The section that is affecting us is the roadway that's going in, which is the Ashley Drive. Ashley.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Ashley coming into EB, which is a short section that would be the stormwater from that. That's the calculations that we did as a agency, not the entire facility, which was actually approved and done under Prince William County.
The other concern is, are there any emergency protocols if they get blocked in their community? What are some of the emergency protocols coming in, building with all of these machines on these easements and coming in there?
That I'd have to research.
Okay, okay. So besides the flooding, are there any additional benefits to us with this easement?
I can't say that there's a negative to it from the calculations I'm seeing. But as far as benefits, it's moving the water off of that short piece of road.
Okay. I think I've asked all the questions I remember that everybody asked me. Okay. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Madam Attorney, how much weight does tonight's vote have on the progress of the Harbor Reserve project? I asked that question because there was comments made during citizen comment time about steps or measures that we could take to slow the progress of that project. Does this vote have any bearing on the progress of that project?
In my opinion, it does not.
Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no more questions, there is a resolution before the council, and I will at this time welcome a motion from the floor. No.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution accepting the deed of storm sewer easement.
A second.
All right, it's been motion and second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you call for the question?
Councilmember Peterson,
Aye.
Councilmember Pete,
Yes.
Councilmember Fields,
No.
Councilmember Brown,
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Miles,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
Motion's passed.
All right. That concludes our agenda for tonight. This meeting is adjourned.